belts are for people who need them. And I went, God, that's a great way. He goes, a star is a star. At a certain point, you're a name, right? I can't tell you, if you put a gun to my head, what belt was on the line when Manny Pacquiao fought Floyd Mayweather. I don't know how many. Was it all of them? I don't remember. It's not important. It was Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. This idea that you're stripping a guy right when essentially him having your title does more for your title than him.
And I told Shakur, do not get caught up in the clown game. If you start trying to clown and get that crowd going, stay locked in. He's doing that because he doesn't have any answer. Shakur Stevenson put on a great performance, but when you great, the standard is high, right? So
imagine walking into the world's most famous arena, putting on a technical masterclass that the sport hasn't seen since the days of Floyd Mayweather, and walking out as a 4-division champion, only to find out you're being stolen from by the very people meant to protect the sport.
One of the biggest reasons is that Shakur has always said, I want to go up to fight Teo, but I want to come back down to 135. So basically, he's almost telling the WBC, let me go up there, I will come back down. And with what the WBC are going through right now, and this battle with Zuffa, where, you know, they've got some real big players and power over there, and they're saying F the belts, and WBC are fighting, saying none of the belts mean stuff. The last thing you want to do is have a public spat, a public back and forth with one of the biggest names in boxing right now. Now, Shakur Stevenson is one of the biggest names in boxing. And the thing about Shakur as well, you piss him off, this guy will go straight to social media and make it known that he's pissed off, and that's what he's done. He's made it known what the WBC are wanting, or wanted for him, or from him, sorry, which was $100,000.
Before Shakur could even get his medical suspension cleared, the WBC decided to crash the party. Shortly after the news broke, Shakur went nuclear on social media, pulling back the curtain on how these sanctioning bodies really operate. He revealed that the WBC allegedly demanded a staggering $100,000 sanctioning fee from his purse for the Teofimo Lopez fight. Here's the kicker. That fight was for the WBO title. The WBC belt wasn't even in the ring. They wanted 6 figures for a fight they had absolutely zero involvement in. Shakur's response was legendary. He called them crooks and made it personal, stating he'd rather give that money to his daughter than hand it over to a suit in Mexico City.
The light of champion Stevenson now being the reigning WBO super lightweight world champion and consistent with the WBC rules and regulation. The WBC has declared vacant its lightweight world title. The WBC wishes champion Stevenson continued success in all his future endeavors, both inside and outside the ring. Now, here's the thing for me. Yes, I'm sure that it is in the ring. I mean, it is in the rules that that you cannot hold a championship between the WBC and another sanctioning body in 2 different weight classes. You can't do it. Also, you really can't hold belts in 2 different weight classes at the same time. That said, I still think that the WBC's move in not allowing Shakur Stevenson to make the decision as to what he's going to do is a little bit of a spit in the face, and it is not the first spit in the face that camp has had from the WBC recently. Because if you recall, Terrence Bud Crawford was the WBC champion after he beat Canelo Alvarez for the WBC belt, and they got into a scrum about the sanctioning fees, and right there they said, nope, if you say you're not paying these fees, we're taking your belt, and they stripped Terrence Crawford for not paying the fee.
If you think the WBC is just following the rules, you haven't been paying attention to the elite protection program they run for their favorites. The double standard here is staggering. Look at Jermall Charlo. He held on to the WBC middleweight title for nearly 3 years without a single defense. 3 years. The WBC allowed him to freeze an entire division while other contenders were left to rot.
A little bit of controversy why the WBC stripping Shakur Stevenson of his lightweight title after winning a title at 140 pounds. Paulie, you talk about it all the time, the goalpost moving of when someone gets stripped and when they don't. Of course, Shakur Stevenson closely aligned with Terrence Crawford, who famously went, I'm not paying these sanction buys. This is ridiculous, da-da-da-da. Everything going on.
Maybe, I don't know. That's a good point.
Paulie, you didn't think of the conspiracy? Where am I here? What's your thought on that, Paulie?
Listen.
Bad move all around.
Here's what I do think that having titles in 2 weight classes makes it very difficult for other guys to get title shots because now you're campaigning in 2 weight classes.
Exactly.
You don't fight often enough. So I personally, in today's modern day, I don't believe guys should be able to keep titles in 2 weight classes. The instant you do win a world title, I do believe you should be stripped the other way. Having said that,
plenty of guys do it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Having said that, you can't just pick and choose when you do that. Because if you can pick and choose when you do that, then you can't do it.
So I didn't expect that. But I think you should be able to fight in different weight classes, but you should have some kind of a grace period to decide. Just like Shakur, because Shakur has alluded to going back down to 135. So he wins this 140 title. You shouldn't strip him immediately 35, especially if he said he might go back down, and he probably can. I don't think he does, but that you should give the champion the respect and to write in writing, like, you know what, I'm staying where I am. I'm gonna compete for this title here. Just respect your champions, guys.
You know what? Grace period. I like that. I like that. You know what? Okay. I'm convinced. Grace period. Give the guy grace period.
Right.
All right. And then let him decide, or if he doesn't decide, just strip him. But yeah, let's give the guy grace period. But then you got to give everybody a grace period, or nobody a grace period. You got to make up your mind. That's my issue.
We've noticed governing bodies be a little bit spiteful in the way that they drop their decisions for specific guys.
Yeah. Then you have Devin Haney, who was elevated to franchise champion status, a title that basically serves as a legal shield to help fighters avoid mandatory challengers like Vasily Lomachenko. And we can't forget Canelo Alvarez, who was allowed to bypass David Benavidez for years while the WBC sat on its hands. But for Shakur, they couldn't even give him 72 hours to breathe.
A lot of times, sanctioning bodies make exceptions for a fighter doing something great and doing something fantastic. Let me go up Canelo Alvarez. Let me go up and fight Kovalev. When I come back, right, I'm going to come back, I promise. He comes back and he's still the champion. That's what happened. Shakur Stevenson went up, fought Teofimo. He has always said, I'll be going back down to 135. He said that many times. Now, Conor Ben did come in and he said, okay, I can negotiate this, fight him at 147. Now you're hearing Devin the American Dream Haney, which we'll be talking about that very shortly. That's a possibility, but Devin the American Dream Haney said, I'm going to fight Keyshawn Davis first. I'm going to fight the little brother, then the big brother. What is Shakur Stevenson going to do in the meantime, in between time? Well, that's up to him. But he has always said that he will revisit 135. Give him a second. But my thing is, they didn't want to. They stripped him. That's their title. Mauricio Suleiman, the WBC, they own their title. They could do whatever they want with the titles. And they wanted to strip him. Fine. But how much effect should that have on Shakur? Is he not considered the best? Hell, I think he's the best fighter in the world.
Right here, this is the WBC championship. They could have given people an opportunity to hold that belt. For example, they could have had an opportunity for him to hold that belt and given him an opportunity to say what he was going to do, as far as staying at 140 or 135. That said, Shakur Stevenson has been saying that he wanted to move back down to 135 after he won the 140-pound title. He said he was planning on staying, made public statements that he was going to be staying at the weight class. But it is what it is now that he's been stripped. So, the options just got a lot more thin from Shakur. So he's going to have to hold on to that WBO belt at 140 pounds and start doing work with guys in the 140-pound division.
Roy Jones Jr. has been vocal, calling this a tax on greatness. He pointed out that the WBC is moving with disgusting speed because they are terrified of Shakur's dominance. Roy's take is that they want to slow down a fighter who is actually taking risks.
And I told Shakur, do not get caught up in the clown game. If you start trying to clown and get that crowd going, stay locked in. He's doing that because he doesn't have any answers. Shakur Stevenson put on a great performance, but when you great, the standard is high, right? Yep. So me and Bud, we didn't even really let him get to the locker room before we said, brother, we think you could have stopped him. He was like, nah, every time I try to step on him, he would punch back. So, you know, we always gonna challenge him in that way. Like, I believe that Teo was looking for a way out the door. Teo is a tough fighter, been fighting his whole life. He ain't just gonna quit and lay down. He's a tough kid. You know what I'm saying? You gotta help him. And I think if Shakur would have hit him a little bit more to the body, because when he hit him to the body, you know, he got reactions. And Teo had some good body attacks too. I think Teo maybe won the 6th or 7th round because Shakur kind of took it off. Teo pressed forward. He felt Shakur taking his foot off the gas, and he landed some good body shots as well. But if Shakur would have stayed in the body and really made up his mind that he wanted to stop him, I think he could have. And you got to challenge a great fighter like that to always be reaching until the day that he retires. Shakur Stevenson became a 4-division world champion. 126 pounds, 130 pounds, 135 pounds, and now 140 pounds. And I love it when you start getting into the weight classes. You start getting into 3, 4, 5, 6 weight classes. Now your intro for Michael Buffer gets a lot longer because Michael Buffer got to go through your resume. Michael Buffer got to start naming off them weight classes. He's a former 126-pound champion, 130-pound champion, 135-pound champion, the reigning 140-pound champion. Come on, man. I love it.
Unlike previous eras where stars could cherry-pick their way to a green belt, Shakur is hunting legends. There is a deeper, darker layer to this story that goes beyond just Shakur. Many insiders believe Shakur is actually collateral damage in a much bigger war.
It caught me by surprise this week. I know you heard it. Shakur Stevenson get stripped by the WBC. It's something that a lot of people were really upset about. And
yeah,
you know,
I don't really want to get too deep into that. All I'm gonna say is it's wrong for him to be stripped if he didn't even defend the title.
Yeah.
That's all.
At a certain point, you're a name, right? I can't tell you, if you put a gun to my head, what belt was on the line when Manny Pacquiao fought Floyd Mayweather. I don't know how many. Was it all of them? I don't remember. It's not important. It was Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. This idea that you're stripping a guy right when essentially him having your title does more for your title than him being a champion with your belt. Do you get what I'm saying? It seems weird. It seems counterintuitive. You want that WBC green belt on the famous guy. Am I wrong, Paulie?
You do to a degree, yeah. But
it does more for your brand than it does
more for your brand,
Shakur Stevenson.
yeah. But I also think, you know, when it comes to this situation here, I think the BC belt will move more if you strip him. You know,
I mean, of course,
I do believe.
By
I
default.
like the grace period thing.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're deciding to campaign at 35 and 40, what if you decide to defend the 140-pound title? Now the BC title stays stale at 135 and doesn't move.
Listen, ultimately this was going to happen. It's just, the issue that we really have here is the fact that it was taken from Shakur without him really.
Well,
that whole Crawford thing and the alliance
is
that's
right
an interesting thing too.
But
You know,
it could be spiteful. I think at the end of the day, though, he's looking up. He's looking 40s, 47s. He's looking at these bigger names. I don't see him going back down to 35. And the writing was on that wall. But again, respect your champions. Talk to your champions. Get a written consent. Relinquish the belt. It doesn't take that long. It could take a couple weeks. That's not going to change anything. So I don't know. It's just the way that it's handled. It's not so much the end result, which I think the end result is right, but it's just how you got about there.
The WBC is still reeling from the embarrassment they suffered at the hands of Terrence "Bud" Crawford. After Crawford's historic win over Canelo Alvarez, the WBC demanded millions in fees. Bud looked them right in the eye and said, "I ain't paying." He famously labeled the green belt a trophy for the alphabet boys and walked away without looking back. By stripping Shakur so aggressively, the WBC is trying to send a message. If you defy us, we will erase you from the history books.
He did not comply with the rules. Then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000, with $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route. No response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved, to tell you the truth.
Max Kellerman calls these belts receipts for payment. And right now, that receipt is looking pretty worthless. The prestige of the WBC green belt is evaporating because the fans can see through the smoke. The WBC used to be the pinnacle of the sport, but now they're acting like a desperate debt collection agency. They realize that their revenue stream is drying up because the top stars no longer feel the need to bow down to them just to call themselves a champion.
Is there a doubt in your mind that Shakur Stevenson is the best fighter in the world at 135? Is it? I'm talking about active fighter right now. Is there a doubt in your mind that Shakur Stevenson is the best fighter at 140? Is there one doubt in your mind? There shouldn't be. See, the reason why you would want a belt or to be champion, all right, is to show people, like show them with something tangible, that this represents me being number one, being the best. And fighters pay a sanctioning fee, pay a portion of their purse just to have this tangible thing. It's sitting on my wall right now, okay? This one autographed by Mike Tyson, his WBC title. You pay a sanctioning fee to show everyone in the world by holding this tangible thing that I am the best. But the question is, do you think he's not the best? There is a clear reason why Shakur Stevenson is the best. It's because he beat the best. He beat the lineal champion in Teofimo Lopez.
Crawford and Shakur are proving that the man makes the belt, not the other way around. They are actively devaluing the WBC's entire product by showing the next generation that you don't need a piece of green leather to be a superstar. You just need to be the best.
I guess what news broke yesterday that the WBC stripped Shakur Stevenson of a fight that they weren't even a part of. Like, they didn't sanction him bout. It wasn't at 35 for his WBC belt. It was at 140 for the WBA. And he tweeted that it was because he didn't pay them $100,000 from that victory.
They trying to use the belt as collateral. And they trying to use all their belts as collateral. And it's getting exposed first by James Crawford, then by Shakur. You know they buddies, so then they couldn't get it from James Crawford, and he just let it go and retired. They maybe try to get it from Shakur, and they failed again. But dudes like that don't need no belt. Devontae Davis don't need no belt. He's gonna sell out regardless. Shakur don't need no belt. He's gonna sell out. Crawford appears to come back, don't need no belt. Canelo don't need no belt. Now I'm getting a big name like that. I don't need no belt. So there ain't no need to be paying 5%, 10%, 5%, 3%, 2% of your money to a sanctioning body. They ain't doing nothing for you. They just making belts and they giving out belts.
So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.